All right, let's get into it. Today we're diving into, get this, the UFO Highway they don't want you to know about.
Ooh, now that's a catchy title. Definitely sounds like we're about to uncover some secrets.
Yeah, there's definitely a hint of conspiracy in there.
For sure.
So, leading us down this UFO highway is Anthony Sanchez.
Yeah.
He's got an interesting background. He's a technologist,
Interesting.
but also a pretty seasoned UFO researcher.
Okay, so a techie who's into UFOs, that's not your everyday combo.
Not at all. And he brings these two worlds together in his book, UFO Highway, where he really goes deep on some pretty wild claims about extraterrestrial activity. And a lot of it centers around this place called Dulce, New Mexico.
Dulce, New Mexico. I've heard that name before. It's like UFO Central or something, right?
Yeah, it's got this reputation like a real hotspot for UFO sightings and all sorts of strange stuff.
So how does Area 51 fit into all of this? You know, that super secret base in Nevada?
Right. Well, that's actually where Sanchez's investigation starts. But then things take a turn towards Dulce after he meets someone who claims to have actually worked underground there.
Underground, like literally underground.
Yep. And get this, working alongside gray aliens. You know, those classic big-headed...
Oh, yeah, with those huge black eyes.
No.
Like the stereotypical aliens.
Exactly. Gray skin, big black eyes, the whole 9 yards.
Creepy. But hold on, this whole story about Dulce, doesn't it sound kind of familiar? Like, haven't there been rumors about this place for years?
You're right. It's not a brand new story. Dulce has been on the UFO radar for a while now. It's almost like a focal point for those who believe in this whole secret alliance between governments and extraterrestrials.
Okay, I have to ask, though, is there any, like, hard evidence to back any of this up? Or are we talking pure speculation and anecdotal accounts?
That's the big question, right? And it gets even more complicated when Sanchez brings in the story of Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar, now that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
He's another figure who's like deeply woven into UFO lore, claims to have worked at Area 51, where he saw some pretty crazy stuff.
Like what?
Well, he talks about witnessing alien autopsies and reverse-engineered technology, stuff that sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Reverse-engineered technology, you mean like taking apart alien spacecraft and trying to figure out how they work?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Lazar's story is wild. Like, his academic records were mysteriously erased, but he still somehow kept working for the government. Makes you wonder what they were trying to hide, right?
Yeah, that's super suspicious. Sounds like someone was trying to discredit him or cover something up.
It really does. And then you've got this whole concept of reverse engineering, the idea that governments might actually be trying to understand and replicate this advanced alien tech.
Now, that's a thought. Alien technology in the hands of governments. The implications of that are kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, it really is. But then we have to ask, is there any proof? Is it all just Lazar's word?
That's the thing. We need more than just stories.
Exactly. So let's bring it back to Dulce. Sanchez tries to, kind of make this mystery come alive by sharing these eyewitness accounts from people who live there.
Like locals who've seen stuff firsthand.
Yeah, especially members of the Jicarilla Apache tribe.
Oh, wow. So this is like woven into their local culture and history.
It seems that way. And they've described some pretty bizarre stuff, like strange lights in the sky.
Okay, that's classic UFO stuff.
Right? But also encounters with gray aliens coming down from spaceships. And even like black helicopters showing up whenever there's a UFO sighting.
Black helicopters, that's like government conspiracy 101. So they're saying the government is watching these UFOs too.
It's what some people believe, for sure.
All right, but are we talking like blurry photos and vague stories? Or do these accounts have some specifics to them?
Some of them get really detailed. Like, residents have said they've seen these gray aliens throwing ladders down from their ships. I mean, who makes that up, right?
That's pretty specific. Makes it harder to dismiss as just like someone seeing things.
Right. And then there are the persistent rumors about this secret base under Archuleta Mesa.
Hold on. A secret base under a mountain. What's supposedly in there?
Well, the rumors say it's housing aliens working with the government.
Aliens and the government working together under a mountain. Okay, now we're getting into some serious X-Files territory here.
We are. But again, it comes down to evidence. Is there anything to suggest this base actually exists, or are we just letting our imaginations run wild?
I mean, if this is all like top secret stuff, it makes you wonder why all the secrecy, right? Like, what's the big deal?
Right, what are they hiding? Sanchez's theory is that Dulce could be this, like, testing ground
Yeah.
for some crazy advanced technology, maybe even a collaboration between humans and extraterrestrials.
Collaboration. What does that even mean? Like, are we talking like a partnership, or are we just their guinea pigs?
Yeah, and that brings up a bunch of ethical questions, too. Like, if this tech is really from aliens,
Right.
who gets to control it? What does it mean for us if this stuff is being developed in secret?
I mean, we're talking about tech that could change everything, right? Energy, transportation, even weapons.
Exactly.
If it's real, who decides how it's used? And what if it gets into the wrong hands?
It's kind of scary when you think about it. It makes those stories about people hearing, like, traffic under their houses even creepier. Like, what if there's this whole other world going on right below us?
It's a cool image, but is there anything to back it up? Or is that just, like, our imagination's running wild?
Right, got to stay grounded. Speaking of history, though, Sanchez digs into some old Sumerian writings about these beings called the Anunnaki.
The Anunnaki, those are like the ancient alien astronauts.
Exactly. And Sanchez thinks they created another race of beings, the IG, who he believes are the grays we see today.
So he's connecting modern UFO sightings to, like, ancient myths? That's a big leap.
It is. But hold on, because then he drops this bombshell about a massive underground complex in China.
What? Another underground complex?
Apparently it goes on for thousands of miles, with living spaces, work areas, storage, the whole shebang.
Thousands of miles. That's insane. How could they even build something like that?
Right. It sounds unbelievable. But there was this study from Georgetown University that actually found a network of underground tunnels in China. So maybe there's something to it.
That's interesting, but I thought those tunnels were for, like, storing weapons, not a whole underground city.
Yeah, it seems like Sanchez might be jumping to conclusions there.
It just shows how easy it is to, like, misinterpret things when we're dealing with this kind of stuff.
Totally. So is it a shelter for the elite or just a military base? It's hard to say, but it definitely highlights how tricky it is to separate fact from fiction when it comes to UFOs.
You got to be careful. Not everything is a conspiracy.
Absolutely. So if these aliens are supposedly sharing their tech, what are they getting in return?
Yeah, like, what's their angle?
Right. Are we helping them exploit our own planet or something?
According to Sanchez, they're interested in our natural resources and maybe some cooperation to keep themselves going. But that brings up a whole other can of worms, ethically speaking.
Yeah. Are we making deals we shouldn't be making?
Are we even ready to deal with these kinds of questions? Like, do we even understand what these beings want?
It's a lot to think about. I mean, this isn't your typical alien invasion story. If even a little bit of what Sanchez is saying is true, it changes everything about how we see ourselves and our place in the universe.
It's like we have to question everything we thought we knew.
So are we on the verge of some crazy tech revolution? Or are we just chasing shadows?
I don't know, but I think Sanchez is onto something with Dulce. It's like a hub for all this weird activity.
It's like a UFO highway leading us towards something we might not be ready for.
Exactly. That's what makes all of this so fascinating. It challenges us to think outside the box.
Yeah.
To consider things we might have dismissed before. It makes us question everything.
Yeah, it's been a lot to process, for sure. We've gone from Area 51 to Dulce, talking about ancient texts, government cover-ups, advanced technology. I mean, it's a lot.
What gets me is how Sanchez, like, weaves all these different things together. The tech stuff, the historical stuff, even personal stories.
Right. He's not just, like, throwing out random UFO sightings. He's trying to figure out the bigger picture, make sense of it all.
And even if you don't believe everything he says, he makes you think. Makes you question what you thought you knew.
Absolutely. So where do we land after all this? Is the UFO highway just a bunch of made-up stories?
Right.
Or is there really something there, something we might not be ready to deal with?
I think that's up to each person to decide, like, what really stuck with you from all of this? What felt important?
You know, what really got to me were the eyewitness accounts, especially from the Jicarilla Apache tribe. They've been reporting this weird stuff for generations, long before Dulce became, like, a UFO hotspot.
That's a good point. They've been connected to this land for a long time. Their stories have a different weight to them.
Right. And some of what they've seen is backed up by others, like that police officer in Paul Benowitz's notes. It makes you wonder if there's something really going on there, something we can't explain.
Yeah, you have to at least consider that possibility. But I think the most important thing we can take away from this isn't about, like, believing in UFOs or not.
Yeah.
It's about being open-minded, being curious.
I agree. It's about looking into these stories, thinking about different viewpoints, and asking those tough questions that challenge what we believe. And hey, maybe by looking into the unknown, we'll stumble upon something truly incredible.
Exactly. Whether it's the UFO highway or something else entirely, the journey is just as important as the destination. Keep an open mind, keep asking questions, and who knows what you might find.
Couldn't have said it better myself. If you're interested in learning more, I encourage you to do your own research, check out the evidence, and come to your own conclusions. As they say, the truth is out there. Maybe we just need to keep searching for it.